We are now moving to our second presentation, which is going to be on making a deep connection with your audience. Making a deep connection through your body language, through your voice, and through a number of other ways that Phillippa will tell us about. Phillippa has been a Toastmaster for over 20 years. And you will hear about Toastmasters throughout our presentations. And at the end, we'll tell you a little bit more about the organization and why you should join. Because Phillippa took a lot out of the organization. Not only did she become a confident speaker, she gained a lot of skills. Well, she brought a lot as well. But she realized that her passion lay elsewhere than where she came in. She was a very high-powered businesswoman, making lots of money for other people and a little for herself too. And she decided that is not my passion. She decided to pursue her passion, and she realized it is to help people with mental health issues. And who needs more connections than people with mental health issues? And so Phillippa will take now the knowledge she's gained over the last several years of working in extreme environments and bring them to us. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Phillippa Henderson.
Well, we set that up. Hello, everyone. How are you? So who of you currently in your work has to do presentations? Hands up. Who relishes the opportunity and runs it? There you go. Good on you. And you know what? Every day we have to we're making connections with people. So the stage is no different. And if it's a small meeting versus a large meeting, it is no different. So I'm going to talk to you about how connecting with an audience. I believe in that, and when we do presentations, don't give too many people. The brain thinks in triads, so the power of 3. And I'm going to break this down today in 3 topics: movement, voice, and words. So, movement. Again, notice the 3. So I've used the combination of 3. We're going to talk about on stage, body gesture, and connection. Here, every space is different. If I were to be right up here, then I'm excluding some of the other people. We have to be really conscious, and when we look at a stage, technically, this is centre stage. However, what's the challenge of being centre stage on this occasion? Do you drive? So you've got to be really comfortable to be able to move and engage people entirely over the space. So there's 2, and you've got to remember that the audience is looking at you. Now, my first career was a flight attendant. So that's where I really started to actually read people. And you know when you point out the emergency exits on the left and on the right? Guess what? It's the opposite, right? So really, we've got to actually realise that our audience is looking this way, right? So when we are talking and we might be presenting in a style, we have our centre stage is present. Left hand is past. Right hand is future. So if I were telling a story about my past and I wanted to inspire someone to actually move to the future, I have to do it in the opposite way, right? Because it's your left and right. The other thing, if I were too far back here, I would look timid. I'd also have the screen in my face, right? But even if I was back here, I would feel like I'm trying to get off stage. So you've got to actually, and it's just like body language when we talk to people, there is going to be a comfort level of the audience. And I've reached it perfectly here, right? So you've got to be intuitive to actually look at how you can manage your space on stage to engage people. But what am I doing right now with all of you? I'm actually looking at you in the eye, looking for emotion, looking for a response. Be comfortable with that and make sure that just like in any conversation, you allow pausation. But we'll talk about that a little further on. So then, when we are talking about movement, we also look at body gestures. Are your body gestures congruent with what you are saying? Now, some of the small factors, when we look at a confident person on the stage, we'll have our shoulders back, straight posture, not because you feel off balance if you are like this, but you just relax. And in Toastmasters, there is a starting point where we go just as if you are holding a $100 note and don't want to let it go, but just have it down by your sides rather than clasping, right? So it's just a little trick to actually have a note in your hand, pretend note in your hand. By having, I am, by nature, I have natural gestures. But if you overdo it, it will take away from your message. The other thing with our bodies, as I say, square shoulders, look at people in the eye and feel comfortable. Now, a lot of people, when they start, look over the people's heads. You can tell. If you are not genuinely holding people's eye contact, you can tell. The other thing, when we use our hands, if I point, then I am being directive. When I open my palms, I'm being vulnerable. And vulnerability creates connection. So they are some small things that you can do with your movement. And also, I purposely today, because I'm going to give you a sample of a speech that I did, and it's about dancing in the ocean. And with that, I knew that I would need to have a flow with my clothes. Remember, we need to think about everything when we're presenting. I've spoken to you with regard to the connection, and it is often through asking questions. At the very beginning, while it's a delay tactic, going, okay, ask a few questions. But as soon as you ask those questions, you create an engagement with others. And today, when we talk about tone, I'm going to get you guys to be involved as well. Another connection. Again, the power of three. Now, when we talk about voice, this is where I want some help. Do you mind being involved? There's a few people that are going to be involved. What I'm going to do is just from your seat, what I want everyone to do is repeat that entire statement. I did not steal your money last night. But what I'm going to do is every time someone repeats it, the first person, Richard, can I get you to emphasis I? So I did not steal your money last night. And yourself, your name, Melanie, beautiful. Melanie, it's did. I want you to emphasize I did not. You're not. You're steal. Your money last night. Okay, let's shoot. Go, Richard.
I did not steal your money last night.
I did not steal your money last night.
I did not steal your money
Notice it's now an accusation, right? I did not steal your money last night. You gave it to me because you need it out and you put the meal on the credit card.
I did not steal your money last night.
Your friend.
I did not steal your money last night.
Something else again.
I did not steal your money last night.
It was in the morning.
I did not steal your money last night.
It was again in the morning. Now, even more so, if I came and whispered in Richard's ear, by doing that, I've created the reality that I know who did steal the money, and the person is in that audience. Oh, so this is through our tone and our emphasis that one sentence can be that many meanings. So, how about why do you reckon that text messages get miscommunications when you think about it? So this, you really need to take people on a journey with the tone. In a story, you want to get them so they're listening. They're listening. This is what we always do, you see. We have light series and I'll go, right, I'm on green, so I've got to wrap it up. So you use your tone to actually rhythmically follow that tune and give them a mystery. And then larger. So build it up, drop it down. That's all tone. Projection, you've got to use and project your voice confidently. And that is simply by throwing your voice. It doesn't need to be loud, just clear. And that is all part of the power that comes from being present right here, right now, and not being frightened about being on stage. Now we're going to look at words, because who can tell me how much of our communication is based on words? It is very little. It's less than 25% is based on words. But when I look at how we can make an impact with words, who's an accountant in the room? Okay. Thank you, sir, for making sure that our books are fabulous, right? When you do a presentation, do you speak in facts?
Oh, yeah. So before you give it face, and how you wash most
Thank you. Okay, so the hard gig for an accountant or anyone that has to talk in facts, that comes from the head, right? And as you rightly said, your name's sir? John. As John said, in 2 seconds you lose it, right? So words that come from the head are facts. It is the what, when, how. Just simple facts. Speaking from the heart. We speak emotions, feelings from the heart. And that can inspire. The heart and emotively, you're responding to the why you do something. So, head is facts. When, what, how. From the heart, it is emotions. I actually always say the journey between the head and the heart, it's only this far, but my heavens, it's a long journey because we've got to connect with the emotions. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. Why would anyone swim to what next? That is, surprisingly enough, me. Why would I swim to rock next? What was that?
Let's get to the pub.
Yeah. It is called the Porch Pub. They've nailed it. They know the audience. They connect with their audience. You are dead right. That was what was motivated. Under the medals there is a beer, right? There is a beer. But I thought not to actually show it. But now here, if I told you about the facts of that, right? It was on the 20th of March this year. It was the duo swim, Porch Pub. It's 20 kilometres. What was I thinking? Training in the pool and the ocean for 5 months. All of those things, they are facts. We did need a crew. It was an incredible crew of trusty souls that were also waiting for beer. Now, if I were to tell you that from the heart, I would tell you why I did that. 18 months ago, I broke my ankle, smashed it. Don't ask, yes, I was rollerblading. Some say I shouldn't have been at my age, but who cares? I ended up with golden staph, which means that for 5 months I had a drugs central located to my heart, and they were negotiating taking my foot off, right? Swimming to Rottnest was an impossible dream in my mind when I didn't even know if I was going to keep my leg. My partner literally whispered in my ears and gave me a kiss and said, I know you're trying really, really hard. And this was in a 3rd or 4th swim in the ocean, and I was being violently sick. And he said, just stop fighting the waves with your physical strength. Dance in the ocean. Frankly, I didn't know what that really meant. But I pushed off that day in the sand. I could feel it squelching in my toes. And I literally pushed off, and instead of looking at the waves on the top of the surface, I started looking at the seaweed at the bottom and watched fish darting all over the place, and a seal that came and gave me an absolute fright like you would never believe. But I lost myself in amongst all the waves and stopped worrying about the swell on the top. And at that moment, the magnificence of Mother Nature completely took my mind away. And I stopped being seasick. And I finally believed I could make it to Rock. Which of those has an impact for you? The facts or the one with emotion? Let's hope it's with emotion, by the way. And that is an absolute true story. And that it was incredible to make it. So when we look at how we connect with an audience, and I'm conscious now because I've spent time over there, that here I need to pull my audience in as well. So let's summarise what we can look at with regard to connecting with our audience. The movement, our stage, and our personal presence is really important. The moment I came in to this auditorium, do you want a glass of water? Can we get water?
I'm going to get it.
Yeah, cool. The moment I came in to the room, we all make an assessment. We all start connecting, or otherwise, with the presenter. Be comfortable with that. Feed through on it. Our voice, tone, pitch, power, and I wish I'd put causation in there. Causation is the most powerful thing that we can do to ensure we create a connecting, safe space. Finally, words. Remember that there are times that we all need to use facts, but lace it with heart. That is how you can connect with people. Find your own style. I have been in Toastmasters for 20 years and I take a stage and I'm big with it. But that's okay. Find your own style. Speak from the heart. People will remember how they made you feel, not what you said.
Thank you, Phillippa. Did you enjoy that presentation? I know I've learned a lot from it. Phillippa is such a wonderful presenter. I know that if I start with my head, slowly move down to my heart, it is a tremendously long journey that can take upwards of 10 years to go just from there to there. You can be an engaging speaker and you'll find out to be great, an exciting storyteller and an influential speaker as well.